Get ready with me while I tell you about why I haven't built a startup yet. First of all, if you're watching this video, just a heads up that I was messing up my makeup order and how I do it because I was just trying to speak while doing my makeup at the same time. And I also didn't even understand what I was trying to say half of the time. Like, I internally did, but it didn't become logical sentences. Because again, multitasking, especially with makeup and trying to tell an entire story and tell my thoughts, it's low-key a skill that I have to practice, but it'll get better from now on, so just bear with me. And I know you're wondering why. First of all, I have my mirror here. I know you're probably wondering why this is even a topic of discussion. And well, if you know me in person, you would know that if you ever asked me what I wanted to do in the future, I would always answer startups. Like, I want to build a startup or I want to join a startup, but it's either one of those. And since I graduated from high school, I never considered a career in corporate because of many reasons that I'll dive into, but generally that would be my answer every single time someone asked me what I want to do after college. And fast forward to now, I am halfway through college and I have no startup work experience, or I kind of do, and I have not built a startup myself yet. So this led me to want to reflect and also just talk myself through my thinking process of why this hasn't happened yet and also my next plans forward. But long story short, I have tried to work for startups before. There's this one startup that I really liked, and there's also this Babson alum working there, or he was a co-founder, and there was another person who's a Babson graduate who is also there. This was the summer of 2022, and basically I did not get accepted to work there because I wasn't exactly qualified, which is entirely fair because they are a Series A startup and they've established themselves a lot already in the industry, but I had no work experience, and I've just worked for myself before, and their industry is just not something that I'm really familiar with, and so it makes sense that they just can't accept me as a non-technical person. I also tried to work for another startup this summer, and we did a trial session which went fairly okay, but our vision just didn't align, and my role there was basically content creation and marketing, and that's what I'm doing for myself. I always just thought that it's not good to force yourself to get into something if the inspiration doesn't come, and or if there's not a clear objective going into it. I don't want to build a startup for the sake of saying that I'm building a startup, and I don't want to do something that's super short term that I'm doing only for the name or only for my own acceptance or other people's acceptances. But I believe that if you want to build a startup, you either need to come up with a good idea, a good problem to solve, or you can find a co-founder first. And it doesn't matter which order this is in, but you need one of those to actually be able to start a potentially successful startup. And so I think I do realize and recognize a lot of problems in my life, but that doesn't mean that I am compelled to be the person to solve them, because I also believe that what you're trying to build needs to align with your skill sets, with your interest, and that's how you can keep something going long term. And startups don't always succeed. A lot of them actually fail. And so to keep you going at the worst points of the development, you need to genuinely feel passionate about it, and you need to genuinely want to put everything you have into it for it to even have a chance. And there just wasn't a singular problem in the world that made me feel I am the right person to solve, honestly. And another part of this is that most startups also require at least one technical person because all companies rely on technology these days, and I recognize that, but I do want to be a non-technical person, which means that I don't want to be the person who's building out the software. I don't want to be the person who's writing code or doing hardware. I want to be the business person, aka the generalist, the non-technical co-founder or founder. But this also means that I need to find a way to actually find someone who can do tech things to work with me, because it's almost impossible to do a startup without tech whatsoever. Like, even for any businesses, I can't think of one business that is built without technology or the use of tech platforms. I have not found a singular person whom I can work with yet, although I have a lot of friends in the startup space. They're mostly technical founders or co-founders. A lot of them don't go to college, they have their own startup. I'm actually friends with a lot of these people, and we stay as connections, and whenever I go to a different city, I would visit them. I think being friends and having connections in a space is one thing, but also being to work with someone as co-founders is another. It's also there's a lot of responsibilities and commitments if you do want to work with someone. And I have tried working with someone even when I'm just looking at school projects, and even when I'm working with other people there, I'm actually always on the look for someone whom I can potentially work with outside of school, because I go to business school, so I know that there are people who have similar aspirations, but most people simply do the talking, but they don't actually put in any actions, or even one step ahead of that, they just don't align with my vision. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even have a defined vision. It's more just like, I know that I have the ability to learn and build something that's impactful whenever I find the right thing. But so far, I haven't found the right thing yet. And what happened last year is that after I decided to stop developing my first business, which is a tutoring business, I started going in circles because I kept on trying to find an idea that I'm passionate about or a co-founder. But these things are so unpredictable because you never know when it's going to happen. You never know when you're just going to find a co-founder whom you click with, or you never know when you find an idea that you're passionate about. And people overuse the word passionate a lot, which is why I want to be really careful with what I'm saying here. To me, a passion is actually developed instead of found, because as a generalist, I like a lot of things and I'm interested in so many multifaceted activities and events and challenges. I'm interested in a lot of things. Oh, also I forgot a blush. I'll be right back. I'm gonna mix these two blushes together. I am interested in a lot of things, but I don't love any sort of activities that I do unless I do it for a long time and actually develop that passion. I don't know what I love right off the bat because I like so many things. And when you like so many things, you don't love anything, if that makes sense. Or there's no differentiation between like and love until you try it out and you fuck around and find out. And so I have tried all these different random ass ideas before, and I even have this notes page dedicated to any sort of new startup or just problems that I see in the world that I wish someone could solve, but nothing has clicked. I realized that it's not realistic to expect myself to make this work and just build a startup within a period of time, because you, again, as I said, you never know when you're actually going to develop an idea that comes to fruition. So I decided that in the meantime, I am going to do something that still is a tangible skill set, is non-technical, which is what I want to do. While I'm doing that, I can always still be on the look for an opportunity, an idea, a person, which I kind of am. But also when you're doing something and when you're committed to one thing, which for me is content creation right now, you don't want to diverge your attention too much, which is why now at this point finding a startup is not even priority, because developing my skill sets within content creation is what genuinely matters in the short term. Now that I'm halfway through college, I actually am not sure my path forward after college, because I can be doing content creation full time, or you will never know what happens within 2 years, because people underestimate or people overestimate what they can do in a day, but they underestimate what they can do in a year. And I still have 2 years left. Even looking back to 2022, my life 2 years ago was so drastically different than my life right now. So I'll never know where things take me. But one thing that I do know is that when you always put your intention to something and when you're always thinking about it, some opportunities or something will click sooner or later. I don't know why this is even an observation, but this is how life has always worked out in my life. When you're constantly putting the same intention into something, you don't let anything dilute your intention, you don't let anything stop you from having that intention anymore, and you ignore all these other noises and all these voices telling you to do different things in your life. If you're consistent with what you want, then eventually you will get it. At this point, I just need to believe, I guess, in this life value that I have, because you need to believe in it first for it to happen. And that's why I do think that within the next 2 years, a lot of things can still happen. And even now, I am not looking for a corporate job or a way to get out of being an entrepreneur or working for myself, because I truly believe that that is what's going to grant me freedom and fulfillment in my life, and I don't think I would want anything else other than that. That is why until now I haven't built a startup yet, but I still very much am interested in the space, and I already know that sooner or later I will do something related to it, whether it's founding my own startup or working at a startup that I really, really enjoy working at. But when I do work for another person or any sort of startups, I need to make sure that they will provide me with leverage that I can't provide myself. AKA, they need to help me grow more than I can help myself grow, and that's my basic standard of working at a startup. In the meantime, I am going to just focus on content creation, and I'm also adding some, oh no, the freckles are too big. I wanted to add some freckles for the summer, since summer is going to end soon, but this freckle makeup is low-key a vibe. Anyways, I was saying, in the meantime, I am focused on content creation and nothing else, because this is the first time in my life where I've been able to focus on one thing and just not look for any other shiny objects and any other shortcuts to get out of grinding and being patient with what you're doing and working hard. So that is my current situation. I still very much look up to all my friends who are working on a startup or who are not in college and are financially supporting themselves, are working on what they want, and are doing something good for the community and the world. I think it's definitely not easy to live in uncertainty all the time, because that's one thing about entrepreneurs. Nothing is certain for the future, and 90% of the times everything is just up in the air and uncertain. But being able to take up on that responsibility at a young age, making a difference in the world, having scalable impact, following what your internal compass tells you, is something that I really, really want to achieve in the future. And I am actively working towards it now. But anyways, let me just put on this YSL lipstick. Fun fact, this is actually my birthday gift to myself for my 20th birthday, and my birthday is like 1 or 2 weeks from now. That's so nerve-wracking. These are all the products that I have used. If you have any questions, please comment down below and I'll tell you the products I've used for my makeup. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.